Hi, everybody. This is Lee talking about Donald Trump, the Trump administration, which we will soon have now that the Electoral College has confirmed that Donald Trump will be the president in 2017. The inauguration is January 20th. We have some people who plan to meet in Washington during the inauguration to promote their agendas, voting reform, Green New Deal, um, clean energy, the environment, anti-death penalty, anti-war, anti-regime change, anti-Monsanto and GMO. Everyone with a cause will be in Washington, apparently. I just hope they don't get mistaken for Hillary Clinton supporters because not necessarily. It's possible to promote a progressive cause like voting reform, paper balloting, hand counting, exit polling, things like this. It's possible to promote these things without being mistaken for a Hillary Clinton supporter. Hillary Clinton lost. She needs to stop talking, actually. And I can't wait for that to happen so we can focus on the things that are very important. We have Rick Perry joining Donald Trump's cabinet as the Secretary of the Energy Department. We do see from various sources that Rick Perry has connections to the Dakota Access Pipeline, which was a very unpopular public policy. It actually stimulated or activated the self-deployment of veterans all across North America to meet in North Dakota to protest an abuse of power by the state government at the direction of Energy Transfer Partners, a corporation. These people were actually inflicting atrocities upon indigenous populations. But that's not all. In addition to the Standing Rock Sioux Nation and the surrounding tribes, they were also inflicting eminent domain abuses in North Dakota, and then also abuse of power in terms of controlling the state government, which is obscene. It's anti-constitution, it's vulgar, and it should not be allowed. That the fact that people in North Dakota sat back and allowed that to happen is very disturbing. But the veterans showed up, and luckily, the People's Army were on the right side of history. And so, for now that there is a pause, but Rick Perry is very closely associated with Dakota Access Pipeline. We're not really sure which direction it's going to go. Donald Trump was invested in the Dakota Access Pipeline. Apparently, he is not any longer. But that association of Rick Perry is disturbing. Former governor or current governor of Texas, who is famous for the fossil fuel industry promotion of gas and oil, but also of wind energy generation. And so we don't know where exactly Rick Perry's head is at, if he's looking back at the tried and true, the oil and gas, fracking and extraction and development and distribution. If he's harkening back to the familiar, or if he's willing to step boldly forward with Donald Trump and actually do well to promote wind energy generation, not just in the state of Texas, but all around the North America. Can we look to Rick Perry to actually take that step forward into the future? We don't know. Only Rick Perry knows, and maybe Donald Trump knows. But, it's something to consider. In the meantime, Barack Obama is busy, our current president. He's finalizing action to protect U.S. waterways and communities from destruction by the coal industry. I'll post a link in the description that describes more of what he's doing on that level. And then I'm also going to go on to another article, and this is where Barack Obama is also working to prevent drilling in parts of the Arctic and the Atlantic. This is an article with Common Dreams. People say it's an incredible victory. This move comes in response to efforts by climate activists urging the president, meaning Barack Obama, to secure environmental protections before the new administration takes power. So, interesting that it took this long. But there it is. And maybe it might stay in place. And so that's offshore. We come to waterways in the interior. The fact that there was contamination of water in Corpus Christi, Texas, Rick Perry State. Again, clean water, clean air, clean soil, clean food supplies. These are nonpartisan issues. And more people are focusing on water. The fact that the Standing Rock Sioux Nation were so successful in getting their message out that water is life. And now everyone knows that. No matter how much mainstream media try to smother that fact, people know we need our water to survive. We need our clean water to survive. And so I'll post links in the description of the water contamination that occurred in Corpus Christi, and the fact that more people are paying attention to something that's not actually a partisan issue anymore, any more than TPP was a partisan issue, any more than Standing Rock was a partisan issue, fossil fuel industry, water contamination, frack quakes occurring in Oklahoma, places like that. These are nonpartisan issues. And so I'm going to go to an article also at Common Dreams. It's Feds Deny LNG export through Oregon, and so the developer turns to Trump. And I did a video weeks past, maybe months past, about FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Committee, that have normally provided rubber stamps to the fossil fuel industry. Whatever the fossil fuel industry wanted, FERC would give it to them. But not necessarily today. There's a Canadian company that's trying to ship liquefied natural gas from Canada and the Rockies to Asia via Oregon. And Oregon is rising up. They're going standing rock on this company. And you know what? They might need to call out the veterans. You know what? If that's what it comes down to it, call out the veterans so they can bring their body armor and their training and their skill set, their special set of skills to protecting water, protecting the environment, and just preventing the vulgar snatching of private property that has occurred much too often by the fossil fuel industry in order to push through pipelines and fracking and natural gas and oil and things like this. And so this article that I'm posting a link to is describing the makeup of the FERC Commission, the fact that it's going to trend Republican possibly, and unless Donald Trump elects or appoints independents, that would be nice. But it's going to, the FERC also gives permission for these companies to have access to property, to okay and give permission for these pipelines to go through. So again, we don't know which way it's going to go underneath the Trump administration. People assume that Trump is going to do one thing, he might do another. He's unpredictable that way. But I do believe that he does respond to reasonable conversation on these issues. And I don't think that he's unaware of the feeling of the majority of the electorate who is just tired of these corporations beating down our people, our society. So we'll see which way Donald Trump will go on this. But in the meantime, there is a strong grassroots resistance towards domination by corporate interests, foreign and domestic, when it comes to individual property rights, eminent domain, water contamination, soil contamination. And I think it's terrific. We'll see what happens next. Okay, and so let's see. There is a final article I'm going to go through, and this is an article at Truthdig. It's saying, sorry, Donald Trump, you can't bring back coal when solar costs half as much. And I spoke on that earlier where I was just describing how it's actually more financially feasible to develop solar industry over the coal industry, not necessarily even in the interest of just public health, which is a pretty significant aspect. We can pay someone who can descend into a coal mine and develop serious health problems. Also, further contaminate the environment, and then also, unfortunately, affect climate change. Or we can spend the same amount of money in developing the solar industry. We've talked about how to redirect our investments, how to divest from corporations that cause harm, and then reinvest into corporations that actually do very good things. And so people are doing that. It's a grassroots effort. The people are directing which way the energy policy is going to go. But we see that there's actually reasonable statistics that support the fact that solar industry is actually becoming more financially feasible than coal. And that actually solar industry is actually meeting wind energy in terms of financial feasibility. It's terrific. So we direct our money and energy towards things that we support, and people are supporting not only wind, they are supporting solar too, over coal. So I'm hoping that people see how reasonable it is to not necessarily dwell on partisanship, because the election is over. Donald Trump won. Now Donald Trump has to govern this entire nation. And then we have to tell him how to do that. So, again, like I said in the previous video, it's probably time that we go half on a baby, meet in the middle, which is where we all want jobs. We all want infrastructure improved. We all want more domestic spending rather than spending abroad. Our people need that money more than people abroad need our money. We need it spent on us and our issues and our priorities. And so it can be done. We just have to make sure it gets done the way we want it done. And so I'm hoping that from the left to the right, from the right to the left, we can meet in the middle, somewhere where we consider ourselves independent and nonpartisan, especially in 2018 when it's time to vote. That anyone who is trying to promote legislation or activities or actions that are harmful to the public at large, whether it's trade deals, whether it's fossil fuel companies, whatever it is, that we join and we vote independence into our Congress, our governing bodies, And we force these changes at a grassroots level. That means we go half on a baby, we join together and make it happen. And we tell our president, Donald Trump, exactly what we want him to do. And that's take care of us and take care of our nation and make America apparently great again or better again. Certainly moving forward from where we are today. So we'll see what happens. Good luck.